When does an artist need a music industry lawyer? In my view, artists, and we're speaking on the side of artists for this question, usually they wait too long. They often think that they don't need one. We talked about a band agreement earlier. An artist goes, or a band goes, you know what, we're friends. Why do we need any agreement? Well, you need an agreement because if you don't have a written agreement, there are issues that copyright law will impose upon you that you might not have intended, and there's issues that partnership law will impose upon you that you might not have intended, which the first one will affect ownership of the masters or the songs. The second one might affect ownership of the name. So if you go jumping into those kind of situations and your band breaks up and then you go on to some degree of success, it's going to be a problem for you. My suggestion is come see a lawyer as early as you can to at least ask the questions or at least get advised on what are the issues. As I said earlier, you may not decide to act on the issues, but you ought to know what the issues are. My view is if you're just playing like you're in the music business but you're doing something else, don't worry about it. But if you really believe that you may have a career in the music business someday, excuse me, then you need to act like you're going to have a career in the music business someday. My hope is that, and this is sort of a joke in the music business among music attorneys, is that how bad will the artist have been damaged before they actually come in to that first meeting? You know, did they sign a horrible record deal that is going to involve litigation and years of their lives, or did they just, get involved with some manager that maybe we can twist them out of? But the hope is that they come early rather than later. And let me just take 1 minute to just explain the issue. There's like this great dividing line. It's the day before the contract is signed and the day after the contract is signed. And there is a world of difference in terms of the legal impact for the artist. The day before a deal is signed, the artist comes in and sees me. I can advise them. It's going to cost them a little money to talk about the contract, and talk about whether we want to try to change it or whether we can change it. What if it's horrible? What if I say, you know what? This deal doesn't look like anything I've ever seen. It's the worst management deal I've ever seen. Maybe the band didn't know that. Maybe we try to negotiate it and they don't want to negotiate. And I say to the band, this is what the problems are going to be if you sign this deal the way it is. And the band goes, you know what? Thank you, we don't want to do it, we're leaving. Deal doesn't get signed. What was the damage to the band? They paid some legal fees. Maybe they paid $1,000. Let's just make it huge. Let's say they paid $1,250 or something, to get this advice on this deal. Well, that seems like a lot of money to a developing band. But let's go to this side. Let's say the band came to me the day after they signed the worst management deal you can ever imagine. Well, I look at this thing, it's a contract. It's signed. Your name is on it. I look through it. It's a 12-year management deal for 35% commission. And there's no way to get out of the deal on the face of the contract. Well, what do you want me to do? Attorneys can't make magic. If there's nothing to do here, you're either stuck in the contract or you're going to have to litigate. You're going to have to hire my friend and go to court and spend, let's just make it worse. Let's say it was a record deal you signed. You knew the guy, you thought it was going to be fine. They take your record, they never put out the record, and they don't pay you. But you've got a piece of paper, right? That's good. Well, you're still going to have to go to my friend, and it's going to cost you, at least a zero at the end of it. How about $15,000, at a minimum, to deal with this horrible dispute that you got yourself into, which you could have avoided if you'd have come a little bit earlier. And let me just add one point to that. Again, speaking for myself, I've done this for 22 years. I'm not in the business of killing clients. I need clients to be successful. So I understand the situation of a developing artist. And I think many of my counterparts do as well. We're not here to say, oh, you know what, here's this little baby band. I'm going to charge them everything I can, and I'm going to get as much money as I can out of them for the stupid little management deal. What does that do for me? That, I won't use the word, but that irritates the band Doesn't do me any good. Maybe I got paid for that one deal, but then they're gone. They're gone. I don't have that client anymore. I need, from self-preservation, it only makes sense for me to nurture this man. I need them to be successful, right? So because they're going to need an attorney so that they can generate, some real legal fees. So I don't kill my client. If you have to pay out, if you want to ask a question or two, I'm not going to run the meter for everything. And again, most of my people that I know that do this won't. If you have to pay it out, I'll let you, pay it out. I'm not going to hurt you. I want you to come on in. And I think that's one of the great fears. I think there's two issues with bands. They don't know, they think everybody's happy and everything's fine. They don't understand the legal implications, or they think it's going to cost too much. And they don't quite understand the cost that might occur if they don't come in early enough, and they don't understand that we're not. I'm sure, look, there's an exception to every rule. I'm sure you can find plenty of bad guys who are doing just the opposite of what I'm saying. But I don't think they're there after 22 years if they are hurting clients. I need that client to say, that client, for when the next person comes along and says, hey, do you know a good music attorney? I need them to remember that I did a good job for them as opposed to remembering how much they paid. Then I'm never going to get that second client. So again, that was a bit off track for your question, but hopefully that got some information out there.